Today, Londoners went to the polls to elect a mayor and members of the London Assembly, but not everyone got to cast their vote. Some people in Barnet were turned away after the wrong list of voters was sent to every one of the borough's 155 polling stations. Among those who were unable to cast their ballot was the chief rabbi. The council has now apologised. Our political correspondent Carl Mercer has the story.
It's bin day in parts of Barnet, something the council has at least managed to get right today, because while this was going on, many local voters were getting what you might call a rubbish deal. Because all 155 polling stations across the borough were sent the wrong voter lists, meaning locals were turned away and not allowed to vote when they turned up this morning.
As soon as we got to the table that was for our area, it was pretty obvious they didn't have our name and address. The gentleman immediately in front of us was exactly the same thing, and then we realised on the other tables round us it was the same as well, that they weren't able to vote.
I saw a number of people, inside the station itself. But as I got closer, the only reason there was a crowd there was because a number of people had sort of turned up and were being sort of turned away from voting.
There was already commotion, people were standing, talking, and it became clear that they don't have the list or the right list for the people supposed to vote in that polling station. I'm disappointed that, we have one opportunity every 4 years to really make a difference and to cast our vote. They should have got it right.
Well, Carl Mercer joins me now. Carl, do we have any idea of what happened?
Well, we know it was a very sorry affair, don't we? And some of the comments you heard in the piece there, probably the most printable ones we could dig out from what people's reaction. But one theory is that what was sent to these polling stations was something called the supplementary register, which is for people who registered to vote late rather than the full list. So that caused an awful lot of confusion at all of Barnet's polling stations.
John.
Well, our voters have been voting at the polls in local and regional elections across the country today, but the process has not all gone smoothly. Many residents arriving to vote this morning at Barnet in North London were turned away from polling stations after a mix-up led to officials having incomplete lists of electors. The chief rabbi and his wife were among those asked to come back later while the council tried to sort out the problems. Simon Brown reports.
Although the sun was out for election day, a shadow was cast over North London as the polls opened.
The lady looked through the register and said, "You're not on the register." And I said, "Well, I'm registered to vote." And she said, "Do you have your polling card?" I said, "No, I don't have my polling card. It says you don't need to bring it." And then she said, "Well, unfortunately, you're not going to be able to vote." And then another lady came over and said, "There's been an error with the register, so they've been given the incorrect register. And if you're not on the register, you cannot vote." And then I kind of stood there in a bit of disbelief and decided that I might as well get to work instead of stand and argue, but I just left.
25-year-old Cheyenne Bundy was not the only one who was prevented from voting. Across this borough of over 300,000 residents, many hoping to vote were turned away due to a mistake with the electoral registration list held at stations here. Now, the London Borough of Barnet was already pretty significant. In terms of population, it's one of London's biggest boroughs, which means turnout here really does matter. The council said residents could vote via emergency proxy, meaning someone else could vote on their behalf, but only if an online application was made before 5 p.m.
People who left, some of them might not be able to get back for 10 o'clock tonight. I hear now this afternoon they're doing an emergency proxy thing, but you have to be online to register. What if some people don't work near computers? Some people still work with their hands. I'm one of them. What if we don't work near computers? What if we can't get online and get that proxy done?
We don't know how many were stopped from voting, but if the turnout is unusually low in a very tight election, today's fiasco could become a major dispute.
My name is Sadiq Khan and I'm the Mayor of London.
London has a new mayor, and its first who is a Muslim, 45-year-old Sadiq Khan.
Today, Barnet Council announced that its chief executive was standing down following the chaos at polling stations in the borough. Let's get more now from Mark Ashdown, who's at Barnet Town Hall for us this evening. Mark.
Yes, there is. The London mayoral election was notable, really, for its impressively high turnout. Here in Barnet last Thursday, it was marked by widespread complaints from people struggling to even vote. Now, anyone who has voted knows the drill. You take your polling card to a polling station, you're then checked off against a list. You're given a ballot paper and you cast your vote. Well, in Barnet, they sent out the wrong lists. Instead of sending out the full list of people eligible to vote, they sent out the supplementary list, just a shorter list of very recent changes to the voter registrations. Now, this mistake was replicated at all 155 polling stations across the borough and led to chaos. Today, Andrew Travers, the chief executive here at Barnet, has announced he will be standing down by mutual consent. But will that be good enough for those who criticise this process?
There's a broader point here about democracy and about the people's belief in the system.
لبيك 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 اللهم لبيك هذا محمد هذا محمد.
It's not about me, it's about my friends, family and others from all around the world who want to go to America, and my concern is he's playing into the hands of extremists who say it's not compatible to be Western and to be mainstream Muslim. I think London showed last Thursday it is.
What do you make of Donald Trump?
Well, look, Donald Trump may well be the Republican candidate. You won't be surprised that I'll be backing the Democratic candidate, Hillary Clinton, who I suspect will be, and I hope that she trounces him.